Let's take you there live. Dick Enberg, Matt Kukas, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Thank you, Greg. Action continues here in the South Region as the Michigan State Spartans, the champions 3 years ago, for Tom Izzo against the defending national champion Maryland Terrapins, the 7th seed against the 6th seed, and the University of Texas, by way of a thrilling 82-78 victory over Connecticut, has advanced to the round of 8 and will meet the winner of this one on Sunday night. We're pleased to be with you at the Alamo Dome. Dick Enberg along with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Matt Kukas. And for the University of Maryland, you look around the country, you may find a team with 1 senior guard. Maryland has 2.
And with Steve Blake and Drew Nicholas, you get experience, toughness, and a tremendous will to win. And Steve Blake, not an imposing figure out there, but he gets the job done and makes his teammates better. And Drew Nicholas, a role player for 3 years, now a dependable 18-point game to score, and Mr. Clutch for Maryland as he knocked down the walk-off runner against UNC Wilmington. And I think still the defining moment in this tournament.
Well, so the strength for Maryland, their top 2 scorers in the backcourt, and for Michigan State, their strength inside. They've led the Big Ten in rebounding 6 consecutive years.
Michigan State has an abundance of very excellent frontline players. They start with Aloysius Ogonye, and he's a great scorer inside. We'll see him here use his footwork and a nice soft touch to score inside. Off the bench, they have Paul Davis, number 40. He gives them a great spark off the bench with points and defensive stops.
And the Spartans with 2 very impressive wins coming into San Antonio. For more, let's go to Armin Katayan.
Thanks, Dick. You know, in contrast to all that experience from Maryland, Michigan State will have a very inexperienced team, starting 3 sophomores and a freshman tonight. Tom Izzo telling us yesterday his biggest fear is those young players will basically just space out on the court under this kind of pressure-packed environment. He said if this goes on for any length of time, 2, 3, or 4 minutes, against a team as experienced as Maryland, he said, Dick, we're going home. Back to you.
It's 1 and out now, but for the winner, that delicious trip to the final 8. And here are the starting lineups. Anderson, Lorbeck, Anaganye, Torbert, and Chris Hill, the leading scorer for the Spartans on the season. And look what Gary Williams has done. He's gone with an all-senior lineup. There's no other team in the country, a major team, that could say that. McCall, Holden, Randall, Nicholas, and Steve Blake. Nicholas and Blake, the 1-2 punch in the backcourt for the Terrapins. University of Maryland, located in College Park, 34,000 enrollment, representing the Atlantic Coast Conference. They beat UNC Wilmington on that great shot by Nicholas at the buzzer, and a big victory over number 3 seed Xavier. Michigan State, East Lansing, 44,000 students, representing the Big Ten. There are 12 losses, most of any team left in the tournament, but 2 very impressive wins over Colorado and number 2 seed Florida. 15 points over Colorado, and 22 they beat the Gators. Hill caught in the air, but gets it off to Anderson, who scores. Alan Anderson, and State leads 2-0.
How about that adjustment by Chris Hill, a dangerous outside shooter. Maryland, of course, will spend special care with him, but passing off to the other so-called point guard. There's 2 of them now, Hill and Anderson.
Michigan State without a true point guard, unlike Steve Blake with the ball, who is a 4-year starter for University of Maryland. 137th game for Blake, 135 starts. Inside to Holden. Randall's trying to work his way inside. It spins out, but Calvin McCall can't score on the rebound, and Blake picks up the loose ball.
Calvin McCall getting his first start in quite some time. The freshman Nick Kaner-Medley has started for the last 5 games and the last 9 out of 10 and has played well, but not in the starting lineup tonight.
Holden over Anaganye, won't fall, and Anderson takes the rebound and brings it up court. All the way down the lane and scores, and that's a tip from Magic Johnson, the great Michigan State All-America, although the foul is called against Anderson on the charge. They do allow the basket. Magic told Anderson, said, hey, I want you to go coast to coast after a rebound.
Well, that's because he can make plays, not only like that, but pass the ball as well. And really, there's Magic right now as Michigan needs Chris Hill out on the wings and in the corners to make shots.
Taj Holden and Lorbeck able to force the turnover. Chris Hill from 3-point range. Boy, look at how high that Kelvin Torbett climbed trying to get the rebound.
You know, the perception of of Michigan State, as Gary Williams looks on, always chirping over there, is that they like to walk the ball up the floor and play a low-scoring game. They have been pushing the ball tremendously. It's just they don't get a chance to do it in the Big Ten because everybody keeps them in the half court.
Nicholas forcing a three, and Anaganye had the rebound knocked away, and here comes Anderson again. Around the perimeter. Now to Torbert, former Mr. Michigan basketball 2 seasons ago. Hill, the academic All-America, and he hits the 10-footer, and State jumps out to the early 6-0 lead.
Well, what Maryland has to do is establish Ryan Randall on the inside.
That's Randall, can't hit. Hill with a rebound. 0 for 5 start for Maryland from the floor. Hill gets it back to Anderson, into Lorbeck, the Slovenian freshman. He's at 6'10". Good outside shooter. Torbert to Lorbeck, and Randall has the rebound for Maryland. Blake. Well done, Steve Blake.
That's a typical Steve Blake tape. He senses Steve Blake play. He senses that his team is struggling to score. He'll take it upon himself.
And Lorbeck with a foul to prevent the easy 2. His first foul.
Everything very sluggish in the half court for Maryland, so Steve Blake sees a little bit of open spaces and makes the tough runner going to his left, and then coming up with the steal here with the quick hands and a very smart foul. Foul by Erasmus Lorbeck.
Michigan State's Tom Izzo makes 3 substitutions. We see Paul Davis, the freshman, for the first time. Adam Ballinger is in, and so is Maurice Ager.
And Nick Kaner-Medley in for Maryland.
A freshman from Portland, Maine. Michigan State leading 6-2. Blake gives the signal.
High pick and roll.
Blake to the lane, sets up Randall. Blocked by Ballinger, the senior from Bluffton, Indiana.
Ballinger is another one of Michigan State's really accomplished front courtmen, and they can play them in any mixture or combination.
And he likes the 3 and hits his first 3. He's been in a slump all season long, so any contribution from Ballinger, who was outstanding as a sophomore and junior, is cheered by Spartan fans.
Oh, the slump is for real, Dick, but the guy shoots 38% from beyond the arc. That's very good.
Inside to Randall, and the jump hook is there. 9-4, Michigan State leads. 4 minutes into the game. Fast-paced start. Anderson will pull it out. 20 seconds on the shot clock. And deflected out of bounds. It'll be State's ball. Timeout. 20 years ago became an assistant at Michigan State under Judd Heathcote, who's sitting right behind him. And there's the coach of the '79 national champions, Judd, who makes his home now in Spokane, Washington. The Spartans are out in full force. Nick Kaner-Medley trying to defend the pass, has his first foul. Michigan State opens 4 for 6 from the floor, and Maryland 2 for 8. Some pressure put on by Maryland, and then Gary Williams, after the pass is inbounded, gets him back on defense.
Well, Gary Williams told us yesterday that he's going to throw a lot of different defenses against Michigan State, mainly because they do not have that true lead guard who recognizes very well, and he also doesn't think Michigan State sees that many different defenses in the Big Ten.
Hill over Blake isn't there, and Randall snatches the rebound. Blake hurries it to the offensive end and gets it to Taj Holden. And he was a little too far under the basket.
But did the right thing, making sure he caught the ball and saved the possession to no avail.
Blake's pass intercepted by Hill. And Ager unable to get the shot off, out of bounds to Michigan State.
Maryland did a real good job getting back on defense that time. Got enough hands in there in the passing lane to deny the layup.
They better be alert in getting back on defense. Michigan State will push it on the dribble and with the pass ahead.
And this kid, Maurice Ager, a freshman from Detroit Crockett High School, is shown some blazing stuff here in the tournament. And he goes up for his first shot, blocked by Drew Nicholas. Late for Maryland, trailing 9-4. And away from the ball, Ager goes down, and the foul is on whom? We'll check the foul first. Here's the Singular Wireless fan poll. Who's been the tournament's most surprising player this far? Check those 4 men out. Who do you vote for? Singular Wireless users, and vote to 171. Log on to CBSSportsline.com/Singular and stay tuned for the results during Singular at the half. Ager picked up the foul, his first.
Well, not only does Maryland want to go inside of Ryan Randall, they got to start looking to get some shots for Drew Nicholas. He's a big part of their offense.
Alan Anderson back in for Michigan State. Ball deflected. Ballinger can't save. It goes to Randall. And Nicholas from downtown. Way off the mark.
Not shots like that, however. Of course, he's getting a little bit of an itchy trigger finger.
Davis takes it down and scores +1. Paul Davis, the 6'11" freshman from Rochester, Michigan.
Well, Davis is able to get right down the middle of the lane. He gets his shot blocked, but he gets it right back and puts it in. He's very tenacious and has a good touch around the basket.
And Davis, a spirited chap of 18 years of age, rated one of the top 5 players in the nation by a couple of services, and he's produced 7.5 points a game on the regular season, and here in the tournament has raised that to 9-point average and converts the 3-point play, and Michigan State with an 8-point lead. And the Terrapins struggling from the floor early on.
Just not getting settled in their half-court offense.
Just into the game, that was Jamar Smith with a tough shot. Kaner Medley saves the ball, rims out for Blake, and out of bounds off Maryland.
Tom Izzo really barking at his team right now because Maryland almost got an offensive rebound. That's enough to draw the ire from Tom Izzo. He is demanding of his players.
And Gagne sent into the game. And also Kelvin Torbert returns for Michigan State.
I think he was also a little upset that Nick Kaner Medley got on the floor for that loose ball and dug it out of there. That's what he wants from his Spartans.
Here comes the full court pressure from Maryland. And Warbeck back in for State, helps out. Anderson hawked by Nicholas. Hill, Warbeck, the big man, can shoot from out there. Rebound, Tor. Look at how this kid can get in the air. Battle for the rebound, and it'll be a tied ball. Holden and Gagne, and the arrow points to Maryland. CBS presents an action-packed martial arts blockbuster. Jackie Chan, Lucy Liu star on the network premiere of Shanghai Noon. That'll be tomorrow night, Sunday night, 8 Central on CBS, America's most watched network. We played nearly 7 minutes, and Maryland with only 4 points, shooting 2 for 11.
You expect good defense from Michigan State. Very tenacious. They play smart. They contain dribblers, and the big guys will battle you inside.
Shot clock down to 13. Nicholas, Anderson on him. 5 seconds, has to shoot the 3. Barely hit the front of the rim and out of bounds. No, saved on the sideline by Anderson. Hill open for 3. And Gagne battles for the board and pays it off with a putback. 14-4 Michigan State, and Gary Williams says timeout. 12:38 left in the opening half. Spartans by 10. The winner advances to a Sunday date with the University of Texas, the #1 seed. Michigan State off to a great start, 10-point lead against the cold shooting Maryland team. The Alamo Dome, 30,000 plus. It'll be interesting to see who Texas fans eventually cheer for. About 20,000 Texas fans here. They've already seen their Longhorns beat Connecticut in a tough, exciting game. And they're just sitting back watching. So just a little pocket of Michigan State and a pocket of Maryland fans to cheer for their teams as the foul's called away from the ball. It goes against Anaganye, his first. You see State starts shooting over 50%. A slow start for Maryland, 2 for 12. Rebounds about even.
Now the physical Michigan State big men banging Taj Holden and Ryan Randall all over the place in there. They can't get comfortable in the low post.
And not many ACC opponents able to do that to this Maryland front line. Holden working his way inside and battles for that too. Taj Holden with his first basket. At the other end, it's Torbert. Anaganye. Boy, look at him crash the boards. Izzo likes form into the boards on any missed shot.
And they still get back on defense against a Maryland team that likes to push. And Drew Nicholas has to get down on the baseline, look to work off some screens.
Gainer Medley unable to get a shot off. He sets it up for Nicholas. Well done. 10-footer for Drew Nicholas to get his first points of the game. And Maryland cuts the lead to 6. Michigan State opens with a 10-point lead. Maryland takes a bite out of it here at the 11:20 mark of the first half. Blake on Hill. Nicholas on Torbert. Anaganye against Holden. Well off the mark, but last touch by Maryland. Jamar Smith had it last. And a timeout is called. Holden, like the Maryland Terrapins, finding that every shot's tough. Maryland's talented freshman Nick Gainer Medley injured in that last exchange.
There he is in the lower left-hand part of your screen trying to get in on the defensive boards. And then is going to come down on the foot of Erasm Lorbeck right in that area down there and turned it very badly.
He was in considerable pain during that timeout period. They've helped him to the bench. Ball batted out, and it's Blake on the run.
Chris Hill defensively doing a good job of containing Blake, who would like to get a little bit deeper into that painted area to make a play.
Blake at 6'3", and so is Hill, and Blake hits the 3, and Maryland pulls to within 3.
Now that'll work for Steve Blake, and that'll loosen up Chris Hill a little bit. He'll have to respect that outside shot.
Torbert at the other end, and they're going to call that a tied up ball, and the arrow points to Michigan State. Maryland with a 7-0 run have rallied from a 10-point deficit. Anderson to trigger in the inbounds pass. All the way out to Lorbeck. Anderson looking at the Michigan State bench to get the call.
Assistant coach Brian Gregory making this call.
Gregory considered one of those top assistant coaches that'll be a head coach soon. Lorbeck inside and draws the foul. Taj Holden acting as though he was the one ticketed. There's Gainer Medley being helped to the Michigan State locker room. Let's hope that isn't as serious as it first appeared.
How about the ankle injury to Keith Bogans now for Kentucky? And just haven't heard any late word on the seriousness of that, whether or not he'll be able to play tomorrow night or not.
Erasm Lorbeck, freshman from Slovenia. His dad is an outstanding basketball player, 6'7", Rado, and now a general manager of a Slovenian team. And Tom Izzo went all the way 16-hour trip over to see the kid. He said other schools showed interest, UCLA, Georgia, Illinois, and others, but only Coach Izzo came to see me. That was good enough. I'm on my way to East Lansing, wherever that is. Nicholas. And it's 15-13.
Getting a couple of nice field goals for Drew Nicholas, cutting off those picks on the baseline, curling in there. Steve Blake delivering right on time. Get a couple of those, that'll loosen it up, and now get a little more confidence on your perimeter jump shot. That's so important for Drew Nicholas.
That was number 11, Rashid Johnson, who is a point guard. He's 6'2", a junior from Chicago King High School. Went to Flint-Smont Community College. Johnson missed 9 games this year with a stress fracture of his right foot. Didn't return to mid-January, and that was the problem with the Spartans early on. They didn't get their entire team to practice together till mid-January. And Gagne saves Anderson's pass. Anderson from 15. Follows his shot, but Holden comes up with it. Here's Blake. Maryland with a chance to tie with 2.
Well, just no openings. Every time Blake tries to get in there, he likes to drop off that bounce pass.
Holden tries the 3, and Gagne gets the long rebound. 15-13 Michigan State. 9:15 left in the opening half. Lorbeck inside, and over the top goes Ryan Randall. A foul on him. Let's take a look at the Pontiac high performance of the day. Here of Oklahoma, 25 points, 11 for 19 from the floor, plus 8 boards in that 65-54 win over Butler. For more great performances as they happen, go to ncaasports.com. Randall's foul was his second. He stays in for the moment. Maurice Ager. The fellow freshman Paul Davis, and Davis has 4. State leads by 4. Make that 5 now for Davis.
Maryland has had a little bit of success here by opening up the court and letting their guards cut down the middle. They haven't done very well in the paint at all.
Gagne rebounds the miss by Randall. Look how quick that Ager is. Can't hit the layup. Davis volleyballs the rebound, and Blake comes out of it.
Well, every time a shot goes up at that end of the floor, it's almost like a football play. Big bodies just banging into one another.
Pass from Blake to Drew Nicholas, and the foul on the baseline against Michigan State's Maurice Ager. His second. Team fouls now. Michigan State with 5, Maryland 4.
Randall will go to the bench with those 2 personal fouls. Taj Holden back for him, and now John Gilchrist into the ball game for Maryland to play the point spot. Now wake Steve Blake off the ball.
Blake takes the 3. Rebound Davis. Rasheed Johnson. Hill inside. Gagne. Aloysius Gagne has 4.
Gagne is real strong in there. If he gets good position, the ball's going to get up to the hoop. There's no way you're going to stop him in there.
Entry pass really set up the play, didn't it? Another good entry pass, and Calvin McCall is the beneficiary for his first basket. 19-15 Michigan State.
That's his first basket of the tournament. Now he's played sparingly in the first 2 games of the NCAA tournament.
Blake's done a good job on Chris Hill, denying him his favorite 3-point spot. And the kick, new 35, and with it a timeout. 7:42 left in this first half. State 19, Maryland 15, and Gagne with an easy 2. On to New Orleans next week, and Coca-Cola will present the Late Late Show with Craig Kilburn from the Big Easy, beginning Monday night right here on CBS. That'll add to the fun. Be watching America's most watched network. Michigan State leads by 4. Davis took too many steps.
I think you got to wonder where Maryland's going to get some inside scoring punch. You got Ryan Randall, their best inside player, on the bench right now with 2 personal fouls. Travis Garrison prefers to stay on the perimeter, so it's going to have to be Taj Holden.
And it's into Holden. Davis is defending the big man, and Davis gets the rebound. Ager flying up court with Ballinger. What a pass, and 1.
Ballinger did a great job of protecting the ball with his body. He was able to get it up on the backboard nice and soft because he used his body so well. Here you see him going up. The defender only could get to his body. Beautiful layup.
What a pass by Ager, who got the ball up court quickly and set up his big man. The foul was on Garrison, his first. Alan Anderson as Don Izzo substituting freely, returns. Ballinger going for the 3-point play, and he now has 6 points in the game. Rasheed Johnson into the game. It was Johnson that made that fine pass on that last entry. Let's go to Armin Katayan.
Dick, just a preliminary update on Nick Kaner-Medley. He is in the locker room now for some x-rays. He was just in absolute agony on the court when he was there on the bench. So much pain, he could not take his shoe off. So I will get you the information as soon as I have it. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Armin. 22-15, Alan Anderson. And now, for the first time, we see Tim Bograkis, who was a starter at midseason. He's a sophomore from Flint, Michigan. Not much of a scorer, but a terrific defender. No one picked up McCall, but he can't hit the short jumper, and Chris Hill sends Torbert to the other end. And Davis fouled on the entry pass, and it goes against freshman Travis Garrison, his second.
Maryland has been totally unable to stop State in the paint. That's the only place that they're going to be able to score, so why don't they do a better job of defending the paint?
In comes Jamar Smith. Played at Allegheny Junior College last year. He brings some size to the court, 6'9" and 240. Replaces the freshman Garrison. Ballinger feeling it tonight and blocked from the backside by Holden.
That's a lot better job, and it's because of Michigan State's size that they do so much damage in and around the basket. And Ballinger, who really prefers to be on the perimeter, made a nice cut into the lane that time.
Into Davis, and the freshman can't hit the hesitation. Gilchrist sends it ahead. McCall back to Gilchrist. And the freshman from Virginia Beach has his first basket.
He was 2 for 2 against UNC Wilmington, 1 for 1 against Xavier, so he's perfect from the field.
Chris Hill left alone for 3, and he has his first tray of the night. Hill, who is the only Spartan in double figures on the year with a 14-point average. He has 5. And Michigan State back to an 8-point advantage as we approach the 6-minute mark. Nicholas looking for a 3 of his own.
And Maryland is looking for Nicholas to take charge out here with Steve Blake on the bench getting a breather.
Holden tries the 3. And Torbert collects the rebound. Ballinger. Yeah, he didn't hit Holden hard enough to get the whistle. So he takes the 12-footer. And Bograkis inside to tie it up. Arrow to Maryland.
You can see Adam Ballinger battling himself right now. He measured that shot too much time, and then Bograkis, who's a hustle guy, comes off the bench for just a couple of minutes, and they'll dive on the floor for loose balls. Brings a lot of energy when he does get to play.
Lorbeck and Anna Gagne come in. Ballinger and Davis out as the front line exchanged by Tom Izzo. Maryland shooting just 33% in this opening half, 8 for 24. Smith on the lob. They get inside on Anna Gagne.
Well, he's the best bet to give Maryland some inside scoring.
Holden runs into Lorbeck. And it's out of bounds, and it was in Smith's hands at the time.
Just about every shot that Taj Holden has taken has been under duress. He's forcing things, trying to draw fouls. He's got to relax a little bit and let the offense come to him a little bit and really try to get Drew Nicholas some shots.
Bograkis with a fine feed to Hill. Hill had to hurry his shot, but gets the loose ball, and finally Holden rips it down. 8-point lead, Michigan State. Nicholas cut off at the pass by Bograkis. And a kick ball by Michigan State with 5:05 left in the half. Steve Blake given a 2-minute breather in as Gilchrist out for, or make it Calvin McCall out for Maryland.
This injury to Nick Kaner-Medley has thrown off Gary Williams' substitution pattern a little bit. Going with the 3 middle guards now, if you will. Blake and Nicholas, the normal starters, and John Gilchrist.
Maryland, a high-scoring team, averaging 80 a game. Nicholas from the side, and he was fouled by Bograkis. So in 15 minutes, the Terps have managed only 17 points. Take a look at our tournament summary. Big 12 featuring 3 teams in the Elite 8. Texas and Oklahoma #1 seeds, and Kansas a #2. And Maryland is the last of the ACC teams to go to the Final 8 should they win. Nicholas with that fall forward free throw makes it 25-18. Izzo a little schooling on the sidelines with Alan Anderson. Nicholas hits 2 and gets a third now, fouled from outside the arc.
Well, they want hustle plays from Tim Bograkis, but not that much hustle there. You never want to foul the jump shooter, and especially not a three-point shot.
And Nicholas makes them pay. Hits all 3, and it's 25-20 Michigan State. Rasheed Johnson in and Bograkis out. Maryland hoping some full court pressure will create a turnover. Instead, Lorbeck gets it to Anaganye and reach in on Holden. Looked like he got all ball from our angle, but there was a sound of a slap, and that's 2 on Holden.
And I don't know if Lorbeck's a good actor or not, but he sold it to the referee. But I heard slap there. I heard skin instead of leather.
So to the line goes Razem Lorbeck.
Here's Lorbeck again. All of a sudden becoming, yeah, on the replay, it certainly looked like a lot of ball, but he did a good job of looking at his hand and shaking it to help the referee out anyway.
This 19-year-old was the MVP of the Junior European Championship team a year ago. Might very well be a member of the Slovenian Olympic basketball team next year.
Well, his dad wanted him to play for a tough coach. He got his wish.
A tough but good coach. 26-20. 4.5 to go. Blake double team, gets it off to Gilchrist.
Kelvin Torbert, terrific defender, just shutting off Steve Blake, who's not lightning quick but crafty enough to be able to get in and get some penetration.
And they're going to call that on Torbert for moving the body into Blake's path. His first foul. Izzo, quizzical expression. Armin?
The latest word on Nick Kaner-Medley is he has been taken to the hospital. Still no word on the extent of the injury, but it certainly is not a good turn there. Back to you.
Okay, Armin, thanks for that report. It would appear that Kaner-Medley will not be able to contribute the rest of this evening. Let's hope that it's that kind of injury that looks awful, but quick recovery. Blake with his 6th and 7th points on the free throws, and Maryland staying close within 4. Trailed by as much as 10 here in the opening half. They've never led.
And yet another defensive look by Maryland. It's a zone, and they want to keep an eye on Chris Hill, who's traveling.
Lake's defense forces the turnover. 48-year-old Tom Izzo, the pride and joy of Iron Mountain, Michigan, up in the Upper Peninsula. Great fans up there watching tonight. Went to Northern Michigan. There's Steve Mariucci, his high school and collegiate buddy. Nicholas blocked by Torbert. He can sky.
And he can defend.
He's only 6'4", but he plays as if he's 6'7".
He held Anthony Roberson of Florida scoreless last week. Takes a Florida apart, held him to 18 points in the second half.
And beat him by 22.
That's a tough offensive team. That's decisive.
Down to 8, 7 on the shot clock. Rasheed Johnson to Hill for 3. Boy, to get 3 in the final 4 seconds of a shot clock, and that'll get the opposing coach stomping, and Gary Williams is on the far sidelines.
Well, that's the one guy, if you're Maryland, that you don't want to leave open on the perimeter.
Deflected pass, Torbert takes it all away, and Holden there to block it out of bounds. And a timeout. 3 minutes and a tick left in this first half. Michigan State by 7, and Chris Hill with a big 3. Part of the flavor of these NCAA championship games, the music of March Madness. These kids do such a great job. They're pep bands from each school. Michigan State entertaining us. 3:01 left in this first half. Michigan State by 7 with the possession. Chris Hill leading the Spartans with 8. Ballinger off the bench with 6. Blake and Nicholas, the backcourt for Maryland with 7 each.
And this zone can be very effective for Maryland as long as they know where Chris Hill is on the floor and stay with him.
And they force the bad pass, and Torbert turns it over. Inside to Smith. Good move. Quick first step by Jamar Smith for his first basket. Johnson takes it up the alley. Torbert has it blocked by Smith. Both ends for Jamar Smith. And Blake under control. And the foul, however, goes against Michigan State.
Here's Jamar Smith working inside against Lorbeck. Coming off a terrific game against Xavier. He was 6 for 6 from the field in just 15 minutes in that one. So Gary Williams looking for some offensive punch from him.
The foul was on Steve Blake for the charge. Out of control on the baseline. 29-24. Michigan State has led throughout this first half. We're down to the 2:10 mark.
It's a zone defense, but it might as well be a box and one on this guy, Chris Hill. Blake's got to keep an eye on him or wherever Hill goes.
Rasheed Johnson, seldom shooting for Michigan State, well off the mark, and here comes Maryland. 1:42 left. Ballinger with the interception. And Tom Izzo jumps off his seat and says, hold it right there, slow it down.
That's a stop sign. I thought he was going to run out. He wants his team to push it and run, but he knows the situation right now. His team's holding a 5-point lead in the last minute and a half. He wants to make sure they finish this first half cleanly.
Their biggest lead, 10. 10 seconds on the shot clock as Rasheed Johnson maneuvers. Down to 6. Davis with 3. Got to hurry. Ballinger waited too long. Violation, clock violation with 1:04 left, and Maryland will try to take advantage, trailing by 5. Blake comes out, and Andre Collins, a 5'9" sophomore, replaces him. First duty for Collins. Interesting lineup on the floor for Gary Williams. Gilchrist, Holden, Collins, Nicholas, and Smith.
There's no question Gary Williams is searching for some kind of combination. A little upset with Steve Blake for those last 2 turnovers.
Inside to Holden over Ballinger. And the struggle for the loose ball, and Johnson battling, finally gets it to Chris Hill. And with 35 seconds left, Ballinger at the other end.
It's a rugby scrum.
And a timeout, 31.6 seconds left in the half. Greg Clark and Missouri coach Quinn Snyder, singular at the half, coming up with a rundown of tonight's action. Also a look in on Auburn and Syracuse, coming up on a singular at the half. Clark Kellogg made a big mistake. You never get a guy as good looking as Quinn Snyder to sit right next to you. Put him on Gumbel's side.
Clark is used to that.
Yeah, Quinn doing a great job. He better watch out. We might just recruit him to join our CBS team. 16-1 is Michigan State's record when they lead at halftime. So maybe that's why Tom Izzo battling so much for these final possessions and a 5-point advantage.
Quinn Snyder ought to get combat pay for battling all those tough teams in the Big 12. It's a tough way to make a living.
What a conference.
Kansas and Oklahoma, Texas. My word.
You got to go out to Lubbock, play Texas Tech at Bob Knight. Oklahoma State, how about Eddie Sutton's cooking up a little surprise for you down in Stillwell there. It's a terrific conference. The other side of Michigan State's halftime record, when they're trailing at halftime, they're 1-11. Kevin Weiberg from that fine conference is here as the NCAA representative, and our thanks to all the officials for the accommodations and terrific action. 4-second difference in the shot clock and game clock, down to 9 on the shot clock. Inside entry pass, and it's off Jamar Smith. 5 seconds, so Michigan State will have a chance for a quick play. What'll it be, Coach?
Well, they would normally like to get it to Hill. He's going to be the inbound passer. Plenty of time for him to make the pass and then use the screens off the baseline.
Rasheed Johnson, he's got to shoot it. Hill has to force it with 1 second and hit the front of the rim. And then the battle goes to Smith, and that'll be it for this first half. Michigan State leading Maryland 29-24, and it's the defense of the Spartans that has been the difference, shackling a high-scoring Maryland team averaging 80 points a game, only 24 in the opening half. Armin?
Tom, is this the kind of first half you were looking for? Very physical. Steve Blake just 1 assist, but you don't look too happy.
I'm not. I didn't think we played very hard. I really didn't. We're in foul trouble, so we've had some strange lineups in there, but they're knocking rebounds away from us. Right now, we got to play a lot harder if we're going to win this game.
All right, thanks, Tom.
He said the magic word, rebounds. That's the end of the half. Michigan State leads by 5. Greg Gumbel will be back with Singular at the half right after this message.
He's sponsored by Chevy Trucks, Taco Bell, UPS, and by Microsoft.
And welcome back to San Antonio as we're ready for the second half. Michigan State in the lead as they have throughout the first 20 minutes, 29-24. And a look at the halftime statistics. Neither team shooting well. A dull first half in that regard. 1 out of 3, the percentage. Offensive rebounds, it figured. Michigan State, they pound, and they're a +4. And the leading scorers, both under double figures. Hill leading Michigan State with 8. The backcourt tandem for Maryland, 7 each. And of course, Maryland without Kaner Medley, their outstanding freshman. What's the latest report, Armin?
Well, in talking to Gary Williams, Dick, the report is not good. Nick Kaner Medley has a dislocated left ankle. He is now at the hospital. As for the first half, Gary said, we're lucky to be down by 5 points. I feel very fortunate at this point in time. He said, we're not really willing to run our offense against Michigan State's physical defense. But he said, I can't really kill the kids at halftime. He said, we've got a game to win. We're only down by 5. We've got a good shot at doing it. Back to you.
Well, that's probably the speech that he gave them. You know, they're only down by 5, and you didn't play a very good first half.
Well, the type of defense that Michigan State plays takes you out of your game because you can't do things smoothly and things don't go well. The ball bounces off of your foot. You miss your teammates with easy, what used to be easy passes. It can be a nightmare.
It depends on what the definition of kill is for Gary Williams. I'd like to have been a fly on the wall in both locker rooms. Tom Izzo and Gary Williams. I'm sure we would have learned some new words.
Said, hey, we've been battling all year long to get here and get the chance to be one of the final 8 teams. You play 20 minutes like that. But credit the defense for both sides.
And Maryland's zone has been good as long as they identify Chris Hill, who's not shooting the ball well, but he's the leading scorer with 8 points.
Lorbeck takes the 3 and hits the first shot of the second half. And Erasm has 5 points in the game. Michigan State's biggest lead was 10. The closest Maryland got to the Spartans was at 15-13 at the midpoint of the first half.
Well, Maryland has to establish Ryan Randall on the inside, not Drew Nicholas in the post-up. He shouldn't be getting the ball in there.
And the foul is on Lorbeck, reaching in, and it is his second.
Well, there are openings against that zone, and Michigan State moves the ball quickly. It's a matter of who they feel comfortable shooting the ball. Alan Anderson played very little in that first half after he picked up his second personal foul. But Rasheed Johnson, although he didn't put up numbers, I thought did a good job for Tom Izzo.
Taj Holden just got called for being a little bit too physical, trying to get open in the paint. They caught him for the foul. He's got to watch out for that.
Used the forearm to push off and has his 3rd personal, first player in the game with 3. Lorbeck. Torbert. Now to Anderson and Gagne and Hill for Michigan State, same 5 that started. We'll call in with Blake and Drew Nicholas, who gets his hand in the pie there, and then he's fouled by Lorbeck. So 2 fouls on the big Slovenian. in the first minute 15 seconds.
Nice adjustment defensively by Drew Nicholas in communicating. He wanted to make sure he was out on the wing in the zone. He wanted Steve Blake on the other side. So both of those experienced players knowing they could get out to the good shooters, Lorbeck and Hill.
Alan Anderson just got on Lorbeck's case, urging him not to commit fouls like that. But he's just got whistled for his third foul.
And Ryan Randall continues to have his problems. 1 for 7 shooting in the game. Lorbeck now with 4 fouls, and he picked up the 3 spot in a hurry.
Adam Ballinger is going to be coming in for Lorbeck as soon as this first free throw has been shot.
Here's Ryan Randall. He's from the Dallas area, Duncanville, and went to Allegheny Junior College. And interestingly, he was encouraged to go there by Rick Barnes, the Texas coach. Rick had recruited his 2 high school teammates, Chris Owens and Brian Boddicker, and suggested Randall go to Allegheny, and then from Allegheny not back to Austin but on to College Park in Maryland.
Randall, not normally a good free throw shooter, but in his last 7 games, Dick, 22 for 27, 81%. So he's coming on strong in that area at the end of the season in his senior year.
Holden comes out with his 3 fouls. And Jamar Smith has replaced him. And they're tightening the pressure, and Blake with the interception. Randall. And Randall on the run makes it 32-28.
And Maryland will stay in their pressure. They normally do it after free throws, but off a fast break layup, they'll stay with it if they try to rattle Michigan State.
Chris Hill from the corner, partially deflected. Anaganye came up with it. Right in front of Izzo, barks out help. Not only to his players, but the official. 10 on the shot clock. Hill, Ballinger for 3. And Randall rebounds. Maryland showing a little more energy here early in the second half.
Well, it's more of a sense of urgency and purpose. They were just totally out of it, especially at the offensive end in that first half.
Drew Nicholas, and he lines one home, and this is as close as Maryland has been in the game, down to a 2-point lead for Michigan State. 6-0 run for the Terps. And McCall from the backside gets the foul on the push, his first. From player features to coaching changes, you can get it all. Daily coverage at CBSSportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline.
Now Michigan State playing right into the hands of Maryland against that pressure. They're just like trying to get the ball over midcourt. That's exactly what Gary Williams wants. I think Tom Izzo wants his team to attack that pressure.
Anaganye had to go all the way under his own basket to collect that desperate pass to beat the 5-second violation. They're on the perimeter of the zone.
And no Hill and no Lorbeck. Of course, Ballinger, you never know with his shot. You wonder where Michigan State can get some perimeter shooting.
And Anderson has trouble controlling the ball, and it's a turnover on the travel. So Maryland fans have a chance to cheer as they are 2 points from a tie and 3-pointer from a lead.
I think Gary Williams just looked at the official and said he made a good call. That might be the first time in 30 years.
Well, they all soften up as they age.
He's mellowing.
Underneath to Nicholas, and the game is tied at 32.
That's the third time Nicholas has come off that flex cut on the baseline and gotten a good score.
Torbert at the other end, and Michigan State reclaims the lead. Torbert with his first basket of the game, although he's played outstanding defense.
Well, that's not his strength, the perimeter shot. He jumps so high on it and winds up shooting it on the way down, and then it becomes a very flat shot.
Randall works his way inside, deflected out to Anderson. Anderson, a spinning move and a score. That would make Magic Johnson smile. 4 minutes gone in this second half. Michigan State by 4. Nicholas for 3. Ager with the rebound. And Ager fires. Ball deflects right back to Maurice Ager, and he scores. freshman from Detroit. And suddenly, after a tie game, 6 unanswered by Michigan State.
Maryland has seemed to relax. Once they get back into the game, they want to relax and go back to doing things the way they're used to doing them. They're going to have to change that if they're going to stay in this game.
6-point lead, the Spartans from the Big Ten. Now the Maryland Terrapins battled a tie at 32, only to see the Spartans run off 6 straight points. And with 4.5 minutes gone in the second half, the Michigan State Spartans enjoy that half-dozen lead.
Well, you can see why Michigan State likes to push the ball at every opportunity. They struggle in the half-court mightily. They just can't get good shots. They don't have enough talented offensive players, guys that can create for themselves, other than a guy like maybe Alan Anderson.
Kareem, wouldn't you think they'll go back to that full-court pressure? That seemed to be working against Michigan State.
The thing of it is, they can't keep their energy up. If they can keep their energy up and stay into it, it would work for them. But they're running hot and cold.
Gilchrist gets it in the corner to McCall, off the mark on a 3, and Ager able to bat the ball to himself. Anderson inside to Davis, and the freshman has it picked off. McCall goes coast to coast. Calvin McCall. That's like running for one of those 25, 30-yard first downs as the Terps quarterback a couple of years ago.
Used his body very nicely to shield off Adam Ballinger and still able to control and get the finish.
Turnovers 4-1. Michigan State guilty of 3 more than the Terrapins. 10 on the shot clock. Davis with 8. Anderson with 7. Anderson with 5. Alan Anderson with his 8th point. University of Texas awaits the winner in the round of 8 on Sunday night here in San Antonio. Deflected and stolen by Anderson. Exciting first game as Texas beat Connecticut by 4. Deflected out of bounds by Maryland. Timeout. 6 minutes into the second half. Maryland has never led, and if they are going to catch Michigan State, they're going to have to hit 3-point shots. They're number 7 in the nation in the regular season, hitting almost 40%, even better than that in the tournament until tonight. 1 for 9 outside the line.
Well, give Tom Izzo and his team credit for that. They identify the 3-point shooters as Drew Nicholas and Steve Blake, and they're staying with them. And they don't have, Maryland doesn't have an inside game to create some kind of double team to get kickouts for open 3-point shots.
Ager from outside, and Maurice Ager making his presence felt here in the tournament. A 9-point Spartan lead. Ager with 5 points. 11-2 run for Michigan State after Maryland had tied them, and a whistle away from the ball. Ballinger inside with a hold.
Yeah, Ballinger holding Holden in there, not trying to give him any kind of position. The most dangerous player for Maryland on that type of play is Drew Nicholas curling off the screen.
First foul on Ballinger. So for the first time, Jason Andreas into the game, a 6'10 junior. The big men for Maryland inside, Randall and Holden, are only 3 for 14 combined.
Well, it's tough to get anything going in there because of the size of Michigan State's front line, and Holden and Randall don't move a lot. They just kind of go to a stationary post position, and Maryland doesn't really have anything in their offense, or at least they haven't shown anything where they screen across and get Randall on the move coming across the lane.
Matty, I think Michigan State also is doing a great job of getting out to the corners, taking away the quick shot in the corner, and then Maryland has nothing else to go to.
Yeah, well, and they're keeping Steve Blake from penetrating, and that's a big factor because if he can penetrate, then he can kick out to a shooter.
Ager on the fly, and he can do that. He's lightning quick, and this is the biggest lead of the game for Michigan State.
Well, that's exactly what Tom Izzo wants from his team. Attack the pressure. Don't play tentatively. That's exactly what Maryland wants Michigan State to do.
The green and white clad Spartan fans across the way like what they see. Randall around Andreas and doesn't get the roll. Davis rebounds. And Fizzle, like a traffic cop, says, "Get down here and shoot." And Ager does, but fails. So on the run, Nicholas the other way. Blake for three. Davis rebounds.
That's Steve Blake's first good look in a long time. He had the 1-3 in the first half, and that's how you have to get it. Either Nicholas penetrating and kicking out to Blake, or vice versa.
At his own wits here is Gary Williams. He just can't believe the performance of Maryland. They just can't seem to do anything that has gotten them this far. And a foul inside. Ryan Randall.
Tom Izzo is going to get this one by winning ugly.
Third foul on Randall. Ager, he's a young man that missed 8 games, 6 with a right foot stress fracture, and then Ager fainted in practice. That really alarmed the entire Michigan State camp. Exercise-induced asthma. It's been treated. He hasn't had any problems since. And now getting himself into shape, and you can see why he was a top recruit. Rashid Johnson back in for Michigan State. And Ager gets a breather and some congratulations from assistant coach Brian Gregory for his play. Davis makes it a 13-point lead. The Spartans of Michigan State, the number 7 seed, leading the entire game. We're tied with 4.5 minutes into the second half at 32, and since then have outscored Maryland 15-2 and have a 14-point lead. Blake outside and well outside that 3-point line, and good hustle by Gilchrist to get the rebound, and Holden goes down in pain. That's a second Maryland player that's gone down, and one of them seriously injured earlier in the game. Kaner Medley, who was dislocated an ankle, is in a San Antonio hospital. We've got a timeout.
Of the Men's Basketball Championship. He's sponsored by IBM and by Miller Lite.
Approaching the 11 o'clock hour in downtown San Antonio, the Alamo Dome. Over 30,000 fans for this Sweet 16 action, and the University of Maryland Terrapins, although the 6th seed, trailing Michigan State by 13 at 47-34. A 15-2 run for Michigan State, and the defense is doing it. The deflection by Andreas, and a foul on the drive. Just moments ago, Taj Holden went down heavily for the University of Maryland as he was entangled with Anna Gagne.
Well, a couple of Brahma Bulls battling way out here as Anna Gagne trying to keep Taj Holden from getting to the offensive board. Knocks him down and then fell on his leg. That's one of the drills that Tom Izzo uses, where he's got 5 players, they start in the paint, 5 offensive players outside the 3-point line, and then there's a collision. So that's what Anna Gagne was doing there.
No foul was called on the play. Good ball movement. Chris Hill works his way free, is short on the shot. Andreas gets the rebound. Rashid Johnson. And with a new 35-second clock, they'll be more patient. The Michigan State bench has really been key to their success in this tournament. There's Blake with a steal. And Steve Blake, hits the underside of the rim, and then he's fouled by Chris Hill.
Blake was able to get that steal because Chris Hill did not come to meet the ball.
And I think that he's probably coming out of the game, Kareem. You're right, very casual. And how about this? Steve Blake struggling all night, and then gets the bunny and just comes up short as he's blocked by the rim.
Looked as if he wanted to lay it up, and at the last moment thought maybe I'll dunk it, and caught in between.
In the case of alligator arms, happens to the best of us.
Yeah, you sure had a lot of trouble.
Blocked by the rim?
Yeah, you had a lot of trouble with that, didn't you, Kareem?
On the way down, maybe.
Just going into your pocket to pick up the check is the only time.
One for Dick Enberg.
And tied up ball underneath, and the arrow points to Michigan State. Only kidding.
He's blushing.
Only kidding.
I'm going to have to buy drinks for everybody tonight.
Promises.
Out of bounds to Maryland was the call. It wasn't tied up. They said Michigan State was out of bounds. So John Gilchrist, the freshman, now running the show. Nice pass to Gilchrist. Well done. And well needed. 47-36 the score. Plenty of time. We're approaching the midpoint of the second 20-minute period. And a turnover by Michigan State.
Well, Tim, Izzo obviously wants the attack, and he certainly doesn't want the turnover there, but it's tough to pull your troops back. You want to be aggressive, and you're going to make some mistakes when you play that way, but more often than not, it will really take the steam out of that pressure.
It's a remarkable statistic. 1 for 12 for Maryland from three-point range. They're one of the best teams in the country shooting the three. Nicholas being the best of the bunch, and he hits it. 47-39. Will that awaken the Maryland offense? 16 for Nicholas to lead all scorers. And Nicholas out there yelling to his teammates to dig in on defense. He has Anderson. Inside to Anaganye. Out to Torbert. And the rebound, Steve Blake. Quickly on the run. Tough pass, really tough pass to Randall. And it's out of bounds to Michigan State. Well, all of us want to welcome Dave back. That is great news. Monday night, don't miss David Letterman's return to the Late Show with guest, what a guest, Billy Crystal. Monday on CBS, America's most watched network. Chris Hill, leading scorer for Michigan State on the season with 14-point average. Returns for the Spartans. Has 8 points tonight. It's the balance of this Michigan State team with Hill the only one in double figures. And the bench scoring for the Spartans 20-4 tonight. That makes them 67 for 23 bench scoring in the 3 games of this tournament. That's where they're winning games. Ager, Maurice Ager at 6'4". He's averaging 6, has 10 tonight. You wouldn't figure it would be Michigan State, the better three-point shooting team, but they're 6 for 14. Way off the mark is Andre Collins. Randall can't pass it cleanly to Gilchrist. Turnover to Michigan State.
Every possession is very important for Maryland, and they're getting to be real casual with the ball, throwing it away, giving Michigan State opportunities to run.
And Ager just took advantage of the last one with that tray.
And Gary Williams is beside himself with the way his team has handled the basketball. Even Steve Blake, who normally has himself under control, has made so many uncharacteristic poor plays. He's on the bench right now. You know he's going to come back in, though, for one final run.
Hill misses the 3. Collins, smallest man in the court at 5'9", gets it to Randall. And Randall has the ball go off his knee out of bounds. And Randall, just a picture of frustration, along with his head coach who wanted a foul on the play. 13th turnover, one more than Michigan State has committed.
Well, so many proud seniors out there for Maryland who've had terrific careers. This is not the way they want to go out. They know they're capable of playing better basketball, but hey, give Michigan State credit. They're causing a lot of it.
Collins up to deny Ballinger, but Ballinger will go to the free throw line. First foul on Collins. Blake, Nicholas, Taj Holden, a national championship, 2 Final Fours. They've won their last 8 NCAA tournament games, 13-2 overall. Anaganye is the one Michigan State Spartan who goes back to that 2000 championship team with Mo Peterson and Mateen Cleaves. And the cry in the Maryland camp has been, we're still the champs until someone beats us. That was echoed throughout San Antonio the last couple of days, but Gary Williams just can't seem to generate any kind of offense.
Well, they had the disappointing finish to their regular season and in the ACC tournament, and then got a reprieve, if you will, on the buzzer beater, game-ending shot, walk-off shot by Drew Nicholas. So they're using the chip on the shoulder method of trying to keep themselves up and ready and competitive, saying that nobody thinks they can do it. They're going to show everyone.
They better start chipping on the lead. Another turnover as Ballinger gets the steal. And Michigan State enjoys a 13-point lead again. Davis hits the side of the board. Blake, and the foul will be on Anderson for the reach. No, Chris Hill on the other side gets it. His second foul and the timeout with 7:34 to go. Michigan State by 13 with under 8 to go. Pleased to hear the news that broke today that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar interviewed for the vacant Columbia University head coaching job. It'd be great if you could return to New York and be the head man.
Oh, it'd be wonderful. Had a really great interview on Tuesday, and looking forward to hearing from them possibly some good news.
Roar, Lions, roar.
Well, the whole idea now is to restore the roar.
Smith inside. And it hit the clock, but a foul underneath.
If I'm not mistaken, Columbia won 2 games this year, so there'll only be one way to go.
they won no game in the Ivy. They won no games in the Ivy League. They were
out of conference.
14.
Yeah, okay. That's tough.
Well,
the cupboard may be bare.
It'll be an uphill job, but we can improve.
Paul Davis picked up the foul. Lager back in. And at the line, Taj Holden. Holden, who is the number 4 scorer for the Terps on the year, averaging 9 a game. That's his 3rd tonight. There's time, and with the ability of Maryland, although they've not shown it tonight, to hit the 3-point shot, should they get that stroke going, they could make a fight out of it yet. 52-40. Reach around by Jamar Smith. And the team fouls now will be 6 on Maryland, and Michigan State's committed 7, so they'll reset the clock at 35. Tom Izzo in his 8th year in East Lansing, 4 times the Big Ten champs, and of course the national champions 3 years ago. Anderson on the drive and gets the foul. Leaning in on him was Calvin McCall before the shot. McCall's second. Does anyone work harder from the start of a game to the end of the game at the bench coaching his team? I mean, they all coach hard, but Tom Izzo, I mean, he must lose 10 pounds a game. He is perpetual motion.
He's a person I would not want to have his blood pressure. He gets awfully annoyed at times.
But working so hard for this team, and obviously has an offensive and defensive strategy in mind on every bounce of the ball.
Well, he's demanding obviously of himself, a hard worker, a great coach, but he's demanding of his players, and he holds them accountable. And you go into his practice, you go into his program, you know you are in for being all business when it comes to basketball.
And he's a charmer when it comes to recruiting time, and if you're good in the state of Michigan, he usually gets them. Jamar Smith working inside. That's the 2nd time he's been able to use that quick first step to score.
And more importantly, this will set up some pressure for Maryland. They can really dig in a little bit harder. Jamar Smith giving Maryland exactly what they need, some inside scoring.
And the foul was on Davis, and he's replaced by Izzo as Anaganye returns. Smith averaged 6 a game on the season. That's his 5th point tonight. 11-point lead. Here's that full court pressure. And they clear it out to Ballinger. In the 3 games of the tournament, it's been scoring off the bench for Michigan State that has overpowered the opposition. Colorado and Florida felt it, and it's been Maryland outscored by 18 by the substitutes tonight.
Michigan State does not get huge numbers from anybody in every area. They just get a little bit of this and a little bit of that from a lot of players.
Baker can't hit the 3, and the rebound by Holden, and the reach in by Anaganye for the foul. So they'll start shooting free throws now. And a moment to take a look at our Microsoft Agile move. How about Alan Anderson? A spin, a little hang, and a nice kiss off the glass. Our Microsoft Agile move at the game. Anna Gagne's second foul sends Holden to the line. Good shooter for a big man. He can even step outside and hit the three himself. And the lead for Michigan State down to 10.
Taj Holden tried to get something going on the inside in the early part of the game. Just couldn't get any good shots off against the big, tough front line of Michigan State.
Gary Williams using his substitutions, gets fresh legs on the floor and back into the press. Maryland down by 9. Dangerous pass. And hits the sideline out of bounds. So the ball never inbounded, so they'll play it from underneath their own basket, will the Maryland Terrapins.
Tom Izzo being very calm with his team right now, and that's important because he knows they're going to see a lot of tough pressure from Maryland right now. They are not going to go down without a fight, so he wants his Michigan State Spartans to attack that pressure when they can, but if they don't have a good look at a fast break layup, pull it back out and use some clock.
Hager, the freshman, out. Torbert returns. Nice entry pass. Randall can't hit it. Anna Gagne rebounds. 3 for 16. Holden and Randall combined, the big men inside for Maryland.
Good job by Michigan State to explore, look, probe for the break, not there. And now run half-court offense.
Another 6 minutes to go, and there's Blake with another steal. Hill to beat, and Hill fouls him. And that's going to be an intentional foul, so he'll shoot 2 plus the ball.
That's the second time now Chris Hill has been casual. One time coming up off a down screen, and Steve Blake picked him. And once again, Steve Blake darting in there as if Chris Hill doesn't even realize he's there. And this is a foolish foul on the part of Chris Hill. If you're going to foul him normally. You know, want to make sure you don't get a three-point play, but you don't want to give 2 shots in the ball.
Blake with only 7 points in the game tonight. One of the better free throw shooters in the ACC. He's 3 for 3 from the stripe. Averaging 81% on the season.
Steve Blake has had a fabulous career here at Maryland.
So he makes the 2, and the lead down to 7, and the ball to Maryland.
He's been a part of so many winning games, so many NCAA Tournament games as well. He knows what this is all about.
7 unanswered. Will it be more than that? Nicholas short on the shot. Nice rebound by Smith underneath. 9 unanswered points. And Michigan State's lead once 13, and there's almost another turnover. Is down to 5. And here the tension of the late going in such an important game without a true point guard has to be a handicap for the Spartans. Anna Gagne. He gets it picked away from Gilchrist, but he's strong enough to rip it right back. 7 seconds on the clock and another steal. It's Gilchrist. 5-point lead. Down to 3. 54-51, and for the first time, the Maryland fans can stand up and cheer with serious fervor. Thursday on CBS, an all-new Survivor is back on its regular night. It's every man and woman for themselves. The competition is fierce. Don't miss an all-new Survivor Thursday, 8/7 Central on CBS, America's most watched network. And who will be the survivor tonight to move to the Final 8 against the University of Texas? 11 straight points scored by the University of Maryland to pull within 3. Under 5 minutes to go. State without a field goal the last 4 minutes.
Michigan State needs to be real careful with the way they pass and catch the ball. If they can do that, they're going to be able to run their plays and get some points.
Anderson denied. Ballinger can't score. Rebound Gilchrist. Here come the Terrapins. Nicholas to tie is short. Oh, he was right on line. Just enough steam, and another steal, Gilchrist.
Panicky pass there by Alan Anderson. He's supposedly the point guard out there right now. He's got to get his team settled down, and I think Tom Izzo, he's got to go a little bit smaller here. He's got two big guys on the floor right now, Lorbeck and Ballinger, and it's really slowing things up for Michigan State. He needs his best athletes out there right now.
And his best athlete, the freshman Ager, commits the foul, his third, sending Drew Nicholas to the line. So Tom Izzo painfully has watched a big lead, 13 points, melt away so quickly on 11 straight points scored. Now 12 by Maryland. Texas awaits for the Sunday night game. That'll be the late game on Sunday, the final game that will decide the 4 representatives that will move to the NCAA championship site in New Orleans Superdome. Nicholas now with 18 to lead all scorers. It's a 1-point game with 4:15 left.
And every time Maryland goes to the free throw line, that means they can set up their full court pressure, and it has gotten very tough.
Blake diving for the steal. A 13-0 drought. Michigan State. Another steal. Holden gets the loose ball.
John Gilchrist doing a terrific job for the Terrapins right now with his defense. He's strong, he's low to the ground, he's quick, he's got good hands.
The defending national champions from Maryland showing their mettle here in the final 8 minutes. Blake on Lorbeck, and Maryland for the first time in the game has the lead. 3:41 to go.
Michigan State looks very tired right now and very confused once they get the ball over midcourt, not running much at all.
15 straight points scored by Maryland. And if you ever wanted further evidence of the importance of a good point guard, you're seeing it now. A miss by Anderson. Rebound Smith. And Gilchrist has done a good job, the freshman, since he came in. Smith. Blocked by Lorbeck and out of bounds off Smith. 3:04 left. Maryland, after a long, hard struggle, has taken the lead. Line, and it's a stunning stat of the game. 15-0 run by Maryland in the last 3:46. Michigan State led 54-40 with 6 minutes and 50 seconds left. And now it is a 55-54 Maryland lead. You can get complete tournament stats, CBSSportsline.com, Run America Online, keyword CBS Sportsline, and Hillshot is rejected. And all the things that Maryland was not doing the first 32 minutes of the game, they are now.
There's Chris Smith coming down, beating the pressure, and he's been yo-yoed in and out of the game. He's probably a little bit confused. Do I be aggressive? Do I pull the ball back out?
Davis inside, and that's the first field goal for Michigan State in over 6 minutes. Spartans lead 56-55. And what was a game with little spirit or excitement in the first half has come down to a battle for the final 8. And inside, it's Taj Holden. Maryland back on top. And a steal by Blake. And his pass is taken right back by the Spartans.
Steve Blake has made some fabulous steals in this game by coming up on the blind side of players.
Maryland by 1 as we approach 2 minutes remaining here in regulation. Hill for 3. Rattles out. Smith off the bench has done a terrific job on the boards for the Terrapins. Blake calls out the play. Ager out on Nicholas. Denying the 3. Near steal by Torbert. Blake with 15 on the clock. Inside Smith. To Holden. And a whistle. Lorbeck gets the foul. It's his 5th, and that'll be all for the 6'10 freshman. He leaves with 5 points. Clock stopped with 90 seconds to go. The number 6 seed Maryland Terrapins with a frenetic finish. Down by 14, lead by 1. Lorbeck goes, and Anaganye will replace him.
Gary Williams taking advantage of the foul-out situation where you get the time, you can bring your players over and talk to them. Now the officials bring them back out.
With all the deep strategy and the intricacies of the game, it still comes down often in these games who shoots free throws. Well, Maryland is 16 for 17 tonight, in contrast to our first game where the lack of free throw shooting may have cost Connecticut a chance to beat Texas, as the Longhorns rarely miss from the line, and Connecticut had its problems in the first half. Holden does miss there, and the rebound to Anderson. 2-point lead, Maryland with 1:27 to go. And timeout called by Tom Izzo at the Michigan State bench. Boiling down to the final seconds. Who will play Texas Sunday? Let's flash back to last April. Maryland and Indiana in the national championship game. Terrapins were led by Juan Dixon, 18 points. He was the most outstanding player of the Final Four. Maryland defeated the Hoosiers 64-52 to win its first NCAA title. As Gary Williams, a graduate, former point guard at Maryland, leads his alma mater to the title. And as they've said, they're still champions till someone beats them, and they lead by 2. Michigan State with the ball, 1:15 to go. Using some clock is Izzo. Ager inside to Davis. 10 seconds on the clock. Davis. Oh, what a big play by the big freshman as he takes it in hard. It's tied at 58. We're in the final minute.
This is when Steve Blake normally likes to make the decision, and he normally likes to be the guy that's going to shoot the ball. Or Drew Nicholas, obviously.
Inside to Smith. Can't hit. Anaganye rebounds. Michigan State, 3-second difference in the shot and game clocks, and they'll take their time trying to find the good shot. Izzo's going to use a timeout, or is he not? He's standing by the official, casually staring at the clock. Look at Blake all over Hill. Ooh, near steal. And now the timeout. You just had a feeling Izzo was going to get it down to short numbers and then call the play. 16.5 seconds left. 13 on the shot clock. The game tied at 58. You look at the key statistics with 16.5 seconds to go. Team fouls. Should Michigan State commit a foul, it's a double bonus for Maryland. 1-1 going the other way for the Spartans.
Well, Chris Hill was the player for Michigan State who made that last drive and dump off to Paul Davis inside for the dunk. Even though Hill is having a very tough offensive night, just 3 for 14 from the field, you pretty much have to put the ball in his hands.
10 on the shot clock. 7 on the shot clock. This is Anderson. Davis again, the freshman. Gets it off the glass. 2 big baskets by freshman Paul Davis. He was the high school player of the year in Michigan a season ago, and he comes up with 13 tonight and 2 under the heaviest of pressure.
Here's Paul Davis making the tough move, the tough shot, and Michigan State by 2
with 4.7 left. 1 week ago tonight, Maryland trailed UNC Wilmington 73-72. First round game. Drew Nicholas, length of the floor, and at the buzzer hit that 3 to give the Terps a midnight miracle 75-73 win. Can the Terps get off a good shot with 4.7 seconds to go? Michigan State saw the alignment used by Gary Williams. They used a timeout. Matt Kukoc, you coached 10 years, 4.7 seconds to go. What do you think?
Well, on that play against UNC Wilmington, actually, Steve Blake was supposed to get the ball. With Gilchrist in the game right now, I think they'll give it to Gilchrist. He'll look to penetrate up the middle and kick to either Blake or Nicholas on the wings.
They stack up Smith and Gilchrist, and then it's Blake with 2.52. Blake shoots to win, and Michigan State advances to the Final 8 against the University of Texas, 60-58.
Well, I think that Michigan State actually earned this one. Even though they almost gave it away, they came back at the end and played tough, and played smart, and were able to pull it out.
So the defending national champions have fallen despite a vigorous rally late from 14 down to actually take the lead, only to see Michigan State's freshman Paul Davis hit 2 clutch shots inside to give the Spartans, the underdog Spartans, another victory. They have 12 losses, most of any teams remaining in the tournament.
Well, Dick, with the proud seniors that Maryland has, having fabulous careers, Steve Blake, Drew Nicholas, Ty Golden, Ryan Randall, you know they weren't going to go down easy. And Steve Blake got a terrific look here. Plenty of separation between him and the defense as he came right up the middle of the floor, and he couldn't ask for a better shot in that situation.
He was on target, but just a little strong. And Coach Tom Izzo went over to Blake and helped walk him off the court with his arm around him, saying, "You've been a great player," and indeed one of the top playmakers. And so the seniors of Maryland, who enjoyed the thrills of that national title for Coach Gary Williams a year ago, that close to making a tremendous comeback victory tonight. It fell short as Michigan State had the answer late in a 60-48 win. Tom Izzo's Spartans have made it a habit. They're on to the Elite Eight. And here's a look at the South Region here in San Antonio. Texas, the #1 seed. And Michigan State now becomes the longest of shots remaining in the 8 teams going for the national title as the 7th seed. Let's get the Chevrolet players of the game. Paul Davis with the 2 biggest shots of his collegiate life to win it. And John Gilchrist, who is the energizer for the University of Maryland in their great comeback try. So the Spartans advance here in San Antonio, and we go to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Dick, thank you very much. The Michigan State Spartans now 17-3 in their last 20 NCAA tournament games, joined by Clark Kellogg and Quinn Snyder. There must be a little something to that.
Yeah, there certainly is. Big plays when you need them. The freshman Paul Davis did a terrific job scoring 2 tough shots, one a dunk and then the other one against good defense.
Quinn, as we sat here, you watched it and you said peaks and valleys all the way through the game.
It was a wild game, and both times out of timeout, drawing something up, and they got it.
All right. So the Maryland Terrapins fall, defending champions by 2, 60-58 earlier in Albany. The Orangemen of Syracuse moved on, beating Auburn by a score of 79-78. So here's a look at the tournament bracket from the NCAA and its corporate champions singular. And we start in the East. And in the East, it's #3 Syracuse against the top seed Oklahoma, and #7 Michigan State moves on. And the Spartans will face the #1 seed in the South, the Texas Longhorns. That'll be coming up here on CBS. Tomorrow on CBS Sports begins at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. CBS Sports Spectacular presents the women's tennis final of the NASDAQ 100 Open. Serena Williams meets Jennifer Capriati live from Key Biscayne. And then at 1 Eastern Time, the men's Division II championship between the Red Men of Northeastern State and the Kentucky Wesleyan Panthers. Clark, Coach Snyder, and I'll be back at 3:30 on the road to the Final Four, followed by a regional final doubleheader. Up first, Marquette and Kentucky in the Midwest, and then the West bracket, it'll be Kansas against Arizona. The winners earn a trip to New Orleans and the 2003 Final Four. Coming up tonight on CBS, after your local news, The Late Show with David Letterman. Tonight, Dave welcomes Kelsey Grammer. We thank you for watching, everyone. For Clark Kellogg, for Quinn Snyder, for all of us here at CBS Sports, I'm Greg Gumbel. We'll see you tomorrow, another full day of hoops here on CBS.